be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas and not a hitman in a porno movie. I'm sorry, I know he lost his eye in war or whatever.
Saturday Night Live's joke, so-called, about my next guest, war veteran Dan Crenshaw, did not sit well with a lot of people this week. And now one of the show's co-stars says that they are looking for ways this weekend to right that wrong.
I know it's being handled internally. They're figuring out a way to right that wrong, I'm pretty sure, because it's not our intention to disrespect anyone. Like, our whole thing is to just be artists and hold up the mirror, you know?
Joining me now is Texas Congressman-elect now, former Navy SEAL Dan Crenshaw. Good to have you with us. Congratulations on your election this week. So when they say, you know, they're going to right the wrong, any thoughts on how they might do that?
Well, you know, I had some ideas before, right? I was looking at certain veterans groups you could donate to. You know, producers did privately reach out and apologize.
They did.
And, you know, but again, I don't want to ask for apologies, right?
I know.
Let's try hard not to be offended in this country all the time. But now that doesn't mean it wasn't offensive, right? It just means that I don't have to be offended. I don't have to be angry about it. You know, we lost the House. We didn't have to have riots, right? And we didn't. And I think that's a really good step in the right direction. Let's not always be mad about what the other side is doing.
Were they responsive when you spoke to the producers about your idea of maybe $1 million donation to
I think they're thinking about it. I think they're thinking about it.
Will you be watching? Are you going to see what they do?
I will keep pressing. I will keep pressing. I've got a lot of ideas for where that money should go.
Are you going to watch the show on Saturday night to see how they respond?
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I usually don't, but it's maybe I will this time.
Maybe this time you might, right?
That's a good point.
So congratulations on your election. You know, obviously you talked a lot on the campaign trail about things that are most important to you. So, you know, on day one, when you get there and someone says, what do you want to do? What's the answer to that?
I'm fortunate in the sense that, well, I don't know if this is fortunate for my district, but I'm fortunate in the sense that even going into the minority, the biggest issue for my district is flooding. All right, we're still reeling from Hurricane Harvey, and we need the infrastructure in place. I need to be able to work with the Army Corps of Engineers to ensure that those projects go forward and that Houstonians feel like next time there is a Hurricane Harvey, we're not going to get flooded. I think there's other issues we can work on too. Workforce training, getting that middle skill labor force up to speed in this country. You know, we have 7 million job openings. It's a good problem to have, but you know, how do you fill that gap? And it's a skills gap most often. So I think that's something we can probably work on together as well.
I do want to ask you about what happened in California this week, because there was a lot of attention after the horrible shooting. 12 people killed by obviously, you know, someone who was not in his right mind out in California. He's a Marine and served in Afghanistan. A lot of talk about PTSD with regard to this, and obviously all members of the military, and I think all Americans, are sensitive to drawing connections between those two things. But is there anything that stands out to you in that story as a veteran?
Geez, as a veteran, you know, first it's a heartbreaking story. I can't even imagine what those families are going through. There's actually a fellow SEAL who lost his son there, and it's truly unimaginable. My heart really goes out to everybody in California. I spent 10 years in California in the SEAL teams. It's heartbreaking. We're always looking for an answer, and we're always looking for something to blame, and this time maybe it's PTSD, maybe it's gun control. PTSD doesn't make you do that. Okay, and PTSD is a gray area. It's hard to define, it's hard to recognize, and it's tragic, but I don't want to blame that. I want to blame the evil of this man, because that's actually what happened. Like, I don't think that his experience in the military made him do this. I would never blame his experience in the military or any kind of PTSD. I think there was truly something inside of him that made him do this, and it's inexplicable to good people, and I wish we had better answers, but I'm not so sure we do.
The SEAL that you knew who lost someone. We also lost someone in our Fox family. One of our former reporters who was here for years and years lost his niece, and it is really just a terrific tragedy, all of it. So anyway, but Dan, thank you. And on a more positive note, we wish you well and as you go to Washington, and we'll watch Saturday Night Live this week. We'll see what happens. See if you get your $1 million. Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Martha.
So coming up next, a women's wave is about to crash through the Capitol after a record number of women are elected to Congress. It's special edition tonight.